Okay, guys. So we're gonna do something a little bit different. I recently rewatched Frogs 1972 with my friend yesterday. It's really good, but like good in like this is a really crappy movie way. It's supposed to be a horror movie. This was published, like I said, or released in 1972, and then that was about that was a decade after Rachel Carson released Silent Spring. Silent Spring is widely considered to be kind of what kickstarted the environmental science movement. This is very pertinent to me and my interests because I love environmental science. I'm going to kind of take you through the inside and outside of the disc in the case because there's important stuff on there. And then I'll kind of take you through what stood out to me. So, heavy spoilers for the second half of this video. This is amazing. Like, if we're looking at this poster, like, she's not even in the swamp. Those crocodiles, that frog. Today, the pond. Tomorrow, the world. They're gonna take over. I'm gonna like read you kind of the little excerpt bit on the back. You know, when you get like a synopsis, oh, do I want to watch this movie? So a shocker reminiscent of Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds, this amphibious horror flick teeming with thousands of nasty-tempered creatures that are hopping mad and murderous. Jumping with action, suspense, revenge, and southern gothic charm, Frogs star Ray Milland, Sam Elliott, and Joan Van Ark are constantly a lily pad away from croaking. Jason Crockett Milland is an aging, physically disabled millionaire who invites his family to his island estate for his birthday party. The old man, who is more than crotchety, he's crazy. Hating nature, Crockett poisons anything that crawls on his property, but on the night of his shindig, it's nature's payback time, as thousands of frogs whip up every bug and slimy thing into a toxic frenzy until the entire environment goes environmental. I guess we just had to do the pun. I'm not really sure if you could not do the pun. I guess it wasn't optional. So there's like fun facts on the back of the case as well. I'm gonna read you. I'm gonna read you one of them at least. So, actually, I'm gonna read you two of them. Many of the 500 Florida frogs and 100 giant South American toads purchased for use in the film escaped during production. So when we're talking about many, what is that, like, numerically? Because you only really need two to reestablish a population. It'd be hard, but you only needed two to reestablish a population. And many of the 500 and 100 giant South American toads? Many? What do you mean many? You and I'm trying to make a movie about environmental science, and I accidentally introduced an invasive species. Dog. What? What do you mean many? So, yeah, and the next fun fact, in Andy Warhol's interview, writer-satirist Fran Lebowitz? I'm not gonna pronounce that right. Called Frogs the best bad movie I have ever seen in my life. I agree with them on that. It's like, dear God. The runtime, it's an hour and 30 minutes. You will not regret it. There is a, like, getting into, like, my opinions on this film, there's a surprising amount of, like, just ahead of its time-ness that this movie had. There's numerous references to, like, being the ugly rich, in the sense that, like, Crockett, like, the reason they're in this scenario is because Jason Crockett, the patriarch of the family, like, everyone's complaining about the frogs, like, oh, they're so loud, foreshadowing, but he goes, like, oh, well, I'll just spray them for pesticides, and then Sam Elliott, who plays Pickett Smith, like, gets onto the island, and he's like, you're doing what? Yikes. So, the movie had a surprising amount of ahead of its time-ness, which is really great, honestly. They're like, the Floridian family is kind of inherently racist, but they're also Floridian family. But then there's a lot of like, there's acknowledgement of the racist themes present from the family by the black people in the cast. And they're like actively, like they're very present with each other on it. And they're not really, like it's very much just the old man being like a jackass. And so seeing, I'm not like the kind of connoisseur on 70s films, but kind of seeing like some of the themes and topics that they talked about very openly in this, like being the ugly rich, seeing racism like as a prevalent, like not something that's just been ignored, like, oh, he's racist, whatever, that's just part of him. But like seeing that and acknowledging that it's different, like that shouldn't be happening, that they deserve better, and then seeing that like, hey, like among all the cast members or all the actors when they're like in their roles, like, hey, we don't have to listen to this crotchety old grandfather because he kind of sucks dick and balls. It's just very refreshing hearing them talk about like being very open with the fact that they know that they're the ugly rich. It's like very like breaking the fourth wall ish, because they're like, there is a scene where they do like, they go into depth and like, oh yeah, like we all, they're like talking about the wealth, the material wealth that Jason Crockett has, and then his like daughter goes like, oh, but we're not the ugly rich, and he's like, we are the ugly rich, dog, like we are. um he's like, all the money in the world and I can't silence these damn frogs. And it's just, it's very like, to me that was just so ahead of its time, because you still see films nowadays that struggle to admit like the fact that you have inherently racist like things at play, that you have, you know, sexism, that they have like, that all of these movies have these inherent themes in them, and that they don't do anything to like get rid of them. But these like, they acknowledge like the like class disparities, they acknowledge all of these things, and that still doesn't like, acknowledging that these things are there and that they're bad doesn't save them in the end, though. Like, you could say like, oh, they're acknowledging the fact and then this is redemption, but it's not redemption. There's not redemption for any of these people, except for like, I wouldn't say redemption, but like, out of the people who survive in the movie, it's like, I guess the most innocent ones. I'm not gonna spoil who. You could probably guess by like one of the photos of them like running away. But anyway, it also breaks stereotypes in the fact that like, the black people are not the first to die. They actually have an off-screen death. The first to die is this stupid twink. It's beautiful. I'm really feeling represented right now. Because I would be the first to die in a movie. My like big problem, like spoiler, my big problem with the film is, for a film called Frogs, not a singular frog is like actually responsible for a death. I was kind of upset by that. Like, they're there all the time. Like, you cannot go 5 minutes without like them panning to a shot of a frog, or numerous of them just like hopping around. But not a single frog is like actually involved in a death. Like, you have from what we identified to be like an alligator, snapping turtle. There's geckos. There's snakes, crocodiles, spiders. There's one with spiders. And those are all considered to be like, you know, like they're like on-screen deaths of the actual, of like actual characters, but there's not really there's no deaths by frogs. And for a movie called Frogs, it was a little disappointing. I guess, you know, they allude to the frogs being the mastermind, which I guess, but snakes are definitely smarter than frogs. Probably not by much, but if we were to like pick like the smartest animal here, it would not be the frog. Not at all. So, anyway, It also has really good sound effects, and I mean that in like a very sarcastic way. These sound effects are probably the only thing that keep it being in the horror category as opposed to a comedy. Now, maybe in the 70s, I'm assuming in the 70s things were a lot different and this was like actually scarier, but it's not scary. The like if you watch the trailer, it's not super long, but if you watch the trailer, it kind of spoils the like entire movie. So you kind of just got to take my word for it. It takes a little bit to it takes like 10 minutes to really get into actual action in the movie. But once it starts up really well, and it's good. It's good to watch. All of the characters are kind of insane, obviously. It's the 70s. Very reminiscent of the 70s fashion, turtlenecks. Dear Lord, there's so many turtlenecks. But at the end of the I was gonna say at the end of the day, but like genuinely at the end of the movie, you're left with this very like reminiscent feeling of, I got to see some rich people kick the bucket. It's pretty good. So even if they're just fake rich people, and they're just actors, I honestly wouldn't even put like a content warning for blood at all because, well, I wouldn't say that I wouldn't put it there, but the blood is so fake in the movie that like you can genuinely just tell it's red paint. It is hilarious. So, I don't know. I think you should watch the film. I think more people should watch the film. I also think that when you watch it, it has like you can pull some very valid thoughts about like your own responsibility in environmental science, your own responsibility in like class hierarchy, kind of like just there's so much to think about with this film that they probably didn't really intend, because it looks like it was shot and made in 4 days. I don't know if that was like the truth, but they filmed the entirety of the film in one location, and presumably it didn't take that long. So I don't know. It's like it's good. It's good in a bad way. It's bad in a good way. You should watch it. Don't watch the trailer first. If you do, you get like 30 seconds in, and you like stop that thing because it'll spoil the entire movie. And I just think watch the movie. As always, I love every single one of you. Do something nice for someone today. That would be awesome sauce. And then watch this movie. It's genuinely insane. I don't even know where you can find it. Set sail on the 7 seas. I was given, well, I traded for this, but my friend found it at a thrift store somewhere. Almost pristine copy of my favorite movie. So yeah, watch the movie, do something anti-capitalist, and watch the movie. Love everyone, do something nice, and it's afternoon, so have an amazing rest of your day.